Hi, y'all. I'm Richard. I am a compulsive overeater, and my absence is 3 weighed and measured meals a day off the gray sheet. I write my food down and commit my food to my sponsor. I weigh and measure that exception, no matter what. And as a result of these actions, in the grace of God, one day at a time, I've been abstinent from compulsive overeating since February 15th of 1990. Abstinence is the most important practice that I do. And I call it a practice because I don't have to debate about whether it's more important than God or family or job or something like that. It's a practice like throwing the baseball before the game, like a yoga practice, like just brushing my teeth. Things I always, I never thought I really needed. I was arrogant. I still am to a great degree. I just discovered a topic I appeared, I don't know when, in my 12 and 12. I'm going to start with its premise, and I'm going to try to go backwards. So bear with me here. Let's see. This is from step 11, and it says on page 98 of the A12 and 12, there is a direct linkage among self-examination, meditation, and prayer. Taken separately, these practices can bring much relief and benefit, but when they are logically related and interwoven, the result is an unshakable foundation for life. And now and then, we may be granted a glimpse of what that ultimate reality, which is God's kingdom. And we may be comforted and assured that our own destiny in that realm will be as secure for as long as we try, however falteringly, to find and to do the will of our Creator. And when I came here, I just knew I weighed too much, and thought it'd be cool to have a 12-step program for it. And I didn't think I'd get to the point where what I just read is pretty good. I consider that a really good way to live. And the question is, why do I care about that? I've learned that it's better for me as a compulsive overeater, because this is not my default nature. This is not my true nature, to believe that I seek God's will and that I can do it imperfectly, and that this would be a good way to live, and that it would give me any comfort. Stay away from me with that stuff. That went contrary to many of my beliefs, though I probably thought I should do that. I didn't realize that the way I was living was creating an atmosphere in my life that made those things seem untenable for me, unimaginably interesting, unimaginably uninteresting. But the reason that I need to do that is because I think about myself, as it's said sometimes, I'm not much, but I'm all I think about. And that's kind of ingrained in me. So it takes some conscious effort for me to think about anybody else. And the best description of this for me is on page 62 of the big book. And I'm just going to read a little bit of it. Selfishness, self-centeredness, that we think is the root of our troubles, driven by 100 forms of fear, self-delusion, self-seeking, and self-pity. We step on the toes of our fellows and they retaliate. sometimes they hurt us, seemingly without provocation, but we invariably find that at some time in the past, we have made decisions based on self, which later placed us in a position to be hurt. And of course, I react to that, and then just things kind of go downhill from there. Acrimony, me being a victim. Don't you know they're doing it to me? And in that state, I create situations which I have no solution for. And I don't have a clue because it's all me. At this point, I am I'm on my own power. Self-will alone will run my life. And I just know that I'm in really, really deep shit. And I just want out. I just want out of that. And I don't know how to ask for help. That's akin to death or worse, probably immoral. You can see I came up with some weird ideas growing up here. And I don't know why I did. That's how it is. So what I learned was that eating was the best way, a dependable, legal, safe way for me to distract myself and turn myself from the situations which I had created by myself. God, and God knew, probably everybody else knew, that I did not believe I had any part of this. And that is the place where I have to continue going back now. I'm going back to the steps here, as you can see. I have to get to the point where I give up. So food, well, I had an obsession. I knew I was broken. And it took me many, many years of abstinence to come to an understanding of this. But basically, I decided that I was not well and I'm not okay, and my mind is truly ill. And I am convinced that this is true, and that belief is based on the irrational reactions to life's persistence problems, and that I ought to be under direct supervision. However, I developed then an obsession to try to find or create evidence that I am okay. Even though I'm convinced in my heart that I'm not. This then becomes the obsession. But as eating becomes important in distracting me, obliterating the truth of my life, it then becomes the real obsession. Because it's good enough. See, I'm layering these things on top of each other. And as a result, my deepest obsession, which is to find or create evidence that I'm okay, has annexed the territory of eating. And by this fact alone, I'm powerless over food and my life is unmanageable. So there you go. I'm locked in now. Given my own willpower, I have no way to, I have this disease now. And I haven't been vaccinated and there's no therapeutics for it. And in particular, the thing I crave is not really ever going to solve the problem. So I have a disease which is incurable, progressive, and terminal. So that takes me back to January 2nd, I think, 1990. I went for my first GreySheet. Stood up and I got a sponsor and I started weighing, measuring my food because I believe the food plan worked. But I didn't understand that that action of surrendering my food was the very beginning of a journey that would lead me here. Uh, I
Five
can't,
more, Richard.
thank you. I can't begin to believe that I just didn't have any idea. Gray sheet is transformational. Putting the food on the cup, in the cup and on the scale is a symbol of my surrender of my will to my higher power. If I can't, if I can't really surrender my will, at least I'll say I'll follow through with this. And I really, there are days, I'm going to take the cup, just smash it, and I want to throw the scale against the wall. And oftentimes it's because I haven't planned carefully enough. I haven't sweated the logistics, and I'm in a state of I'm irritable, restless, and discontent. And somebody's doing it to me. And you see, I've slipped back into this stuff. I've slipped back into the self-centeredness where it's all up to me. And I cannot ask for help. I cannot pick up the phone. And those are the days I want to smash the scale. But I don't want to go back to eating because it doesn't work. Now, I lost about 60 pounds, and that's not really a whole lot. Obese, it's nowhere close to morbidly obese, but I was on my way. I know that. And I have images burned in my mind that days when I looked at myself and there was oh shit, it's come to this. I don't want to go back to that. And the fear of that, frankly, kept me on course. So a lot happened. And what eventually I started doing was writing a 10-step inventory. That was a turning point. I was motivated by doing this, by sitting down and reading the big book. And suddenly I realized that the things I was doing that were in the big book were working. And maybe the things that I wasn't doing would work too. And so I've made it pretty much a practice to try to do some writing every day. It's important for me. And I'm going to refer to page 84 in the big book where it has the instructions for step 10. This thought, and then I'm going to eventually get back to step 11 in the next 2.5 minutes. This thought brings us to step 10, which suggests we continue to take inventory, personal inventory, and continue to set right any new mistakes as we go along. We have entered the world of the spirit. Our next function is to grow in understanding and effectiveness. This is not an overnight matter. That's what I call the life sentence. It should continue for our lifetime. Continue to watch for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. And it ain't hard. If I'm angry about something, it's because I am afraid. Period. That is 100% of the case. When these crop up, we ask God at once to discuss them with someone immediately and make amends quickly. If we have harmed anyone, then we resolutely turn our thoughts to someone we can help. Really? I'm going to help someone, but it's here and it works, but I have to do it. Love and tolerance of others is our code. And so, as it said in step 11 of chapter 11 of the AA 12 and 12, I read from the start with. There is a direct linkage among self-examination, meditation, and prayer. And with that, not going to go into the meditation, but I'm going to read the 11th step prayer, because when I do this, I think of the ways that I can, whether I am actually living this stuff, and if I'm not, how can I bring it? And I try to say it with great sincerity. Lord, make me a channel of thy peace, that where there is hatred, I may bring love, and where there is wrong, I may bring the spirit of forgiveness. That where there is discord, may I bring harmony. That where there is error, may I bring truth. That where there is doubt, may I bring faith. That where there is despair, may I bring hope. That where there are shadows, I may bring light. Where there is sadness, I may bring joy. Lord, grant that I may seek rather to comfort than to be comforted, to understand than to be understood, and to love than to be loved. For it is by self-forgetting that one finds. It is by forgiving one is forgiven. By dying, one awakens to eternal life.
It's time, Richard.
So this is a transformational process. But I have to weigh and measure my food. If I go back to the food, I turn my back on it. Thank you.